She was used to solving billion-dollar problems, but tonight she was locked out of her own apartment. Humiliated, exhausted, and out of options, she had no choice but to accept help from the one person everyone else overlooked. What happened next would change both of their lives forever. Before we dive in, hit subscribe, like this video, and turn on notifications so you never miss an inspiring story like this. The Lockout. The rain came down in sheets, turning the streets of downtown Chicago into a blur of neon reflections and slick pavement. Lena Carter stood under the awning of the luxury high-rise she called home, her designer coat doing little to shield her from the biting wind. She swiped her key card against the reader for the third time, her patience fraying with each failed attempt. The small screen flashed red. Access denied. "Come on," she muttered under her breath, jamming the card in again. Nothing. Lena exhaled sharply, her breath visible in the cold air. She was used to solving problems, multi-million-dollar mergers, supply chain disasters, boardroom rebellions. But this was absurd. She was the CEO of Nexitech, one of the most powerful women in the city, and she couldn't even get into her own damn apartment. Her phone had died hours ago, drained from back-to-back meetings. Her assistant, usually just a text away, was unreachable, probably at some networking event Lena herself had skipped. The doorman? Nowhere in sight. Of course. She pressed a hand to her forehead, frustration bubbling up. She had an early flight to New York, a stack of contract to review, and all she wanted was to get inside, pour a glass of wine, and collapse onto her couch. But the universe, it seemed, had other plans. Then, a voice from behind her. "Ma'am, you okay?" Lena turned. A man in a navy blue janitorial uniform stood a few feet away, pushing a mop bucket. He was older, maybe in his 50s, with salt and pepper hair and a face that had seen its share of hard days. His name tag read Marcus Wright. She hesitated. Admitting she was locked out felt like admitting defeat. But the wind howled, the rain showed no sign of letting up, and she was out of options. "My key card isn't working," she said finally, her tone clipped. Marcus nodded, unfazed. "Happens sometimes. Reader's finicky when it rains." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a master key. "I can let you in." Lena stiffened. She wasn't used to relying on strangers, especially not employees she barely noticed on a normal day. But right now he was the only one here. "Thanks," she said, though the word felt foreign in her mouth. The door clicked open, and relief washed over her. She stepped inside, the warmth of the lobby a stark contrast to the storm outside. Marcus lingered for a second, as if unsure whether to say anything else, then turned to leave. But just as he did, Lena realized something. "Wait," she called out. He paused. "Do you have a phone charger?" "Mine's dead." Marcus studied her for a beat, then nodded. "Got one in the supply closet. It's, not exactly five-star accommodations." Lena almost smiled. "At this point, I'll take anything." He led her down a hallway to a small, dimly lit room filled with cleaning supplies, spare light bulbs, and toolboxes. It was cramped but meticulously organized. A folding chair sat in the corner beside a tiny desk, where a battered laptop sat next to a half-built mechanical device, some kind of drone, by the looks of it. Lena's eyes flickered over the space, intrigued despite herself. Taped to the wall was a faded photograph of Marcus in military fatigues, standing beside other soldiers. A bookshelf held engineering textbooks, their spines worn from use. She plugged in her phone, then glanced at Marcus. "You're a veteran?" He shrugged, like it wasn't a big deal. 2 tours. After that, well, jobs don't always line up with dreams. Her phone screen lit up, notifications flooding in, emails, missed calls. But for once, Lena didn't immediately reach for it. Instead, she noticed a folded piece of paper peeking out from under a toolbox. Without thinking, she picked it up. It was a resume. Marcus Wright, MS in Mechanical Engineering. 15 years of experience in aerospace design. Lena's brow furrowed. "Why are you working here?" For the first time, Marcus's calm demeanor cracked. Just slightly. He let out a quiet sigh. "Got laid off when my daughter got sick. Medical bills don't pay themselves. This job, it's got benefits. Something twisted in Lena's chest. She had just approved a round of layoffs at Nexitech. 500 employees, all in the name of efficiency. She had seen the numbers, the projections, but she hadn't seen the faces. Before she could respond, her phone buzzed violently. A call from her COO. She hesitated, then answered. "Lena, we've got a problem. The press got wind of the layoffs. Stock's tanking." Her grip tightened on the phone. She should leave. Now. Handle the crisis. But as she looked at Marcus, at the drone parts, the resume, the photo of his daughter tucked beside his textbooks, she wondered if she'd been solving the wrong problems all along. And for the first time in years, Lena Carter wasn't sure what to do next. The closet revelation, the hum of the fluorescent lights in the supply closet, seemed louder than usual, filling the silence between them. Lena stared at Marcus's resume, the weight of his words settling over her like a fog. Laid off, sick daughter, medical bills. Her COO's voice still buzzed in her ear, urgent and clipped. "Lena, are you there? We need damage control now." She should leave. That's what the old Lena would have done. The Lena who prioritized shareholder reports over human stories. But something held her in place. Maybe it was the way Marcus kept his workspace so orderly despite the chaos of his life. Maybe it was the quiet determination in his eyes when he talked about his daughter. Or maybe, just maybe, it was a gnawing guilt she'd been ignoring for months. "I have to take this," she said to Marcus, though the apology in her voice was real. She stepped into the hallway, pressing the phone to her ear. What's the headline? Tech giant axes 500 jobs while CEO buys third vacation home. Her COO spat. It's trending. The board's panicking. Lena pinched the bridge of her nose. That vacation home was a mischaracterization. It was a small cabin she'd bought for her mother. But optics didn't care about nuance. Set up a press conference for her tomorrow. We'll announce a severance package expansion. That'll cost millions. And losing investor confidence will cost billions, she snapped. Just do it. She hung up, her pulse thrumming. When she turned back to the supply closet, Marcus was carefully disassembling the drone on his desk, his movements precise. He didn't look up. "You don't have to stay," he said quietly. "Sounds like you got bigger things to handle." Lena hesitated, then stepped back inside. "What's the drone for?" Marcus paused. For a second, she thought he wouldn't answer. Then he picked up a small rotor blade, turning it between his fingers. Water purification. Designed it to be solar-powered, lightweight, could be airdropped into disaster zones or remote villages. He nodded to a schematic on the wall. Filters 500 gallons a day. Cost per unit? Under $200. Lena's eyebrows rose. That was revolutionary. Nexitech's R&D department had spent millions trying to crack portable water tech, with far less success. "Why aren't you pitching this to investors?" A dry chuckle. "Tried. Got laughed out of the room when I mentioned I was a janitor." He met her gaze. Funny how titles matter more than ideas. The words landed like a punch. How many times had she dismissed someone in a meeting because they weren't VP level? How many ideas had she overlooked because they came from the wrong people? Her phone buzzed again, another crisis, but this time she silenced it. "Show me how it works." Marcus blinked. "Seriously? Indulge me." For the next 20 minutes, he walked her through the prototype. His voice changed as he spoke, shedding the quiet reserve of a maintenance worker and slipping into the easy confidence of an engineer. He pointed to the filtration system, the compact solar panel, the modular design that allowed for easy repairs in the field. Lena asked questions, sharp and technical, and Marcus answered every one without hesitation. This man should have been running a lab, not mopping floors. When he finished, Lena crossed her arms. "You could have led with 'I'm an engineer.' And you could have led with 'I'm the CEO,'" he countered. "But we both know why we didn't." A beat passed. Then, to her own surprise, Lena laughed. It was a real laugh, the kind she hadn't let out in months. "Fair." Marcus smiled just a flicker, but it was there. Then his own phone rang. He checked the screen, and his expression tightened. "I need to take this." He stepped away, his voice dropping to a murmur. "Hey, sweetheart." No, it's okay." Yeah, I'll be there soon. Did you take your meds? Lena busied herself with the drone, giving him privacy, but the worry in his voice was unmistakable. When he hung up, she pretended not to notice how quickly he wiped his eyes. Everything all right? She asked carefully. My daughter. The hospital's calling in her payment for this month's treatment. He rubbed his temple. I'm $800 short. The number was a drop in the bucket for Lena, less than her weekly coffee budget. Before she could stop herself, she pulled out her wallet. Let me help. Marcus stiffened. No. The word was firm, final. I don't take handouts. This isn't a handout. It's an advance. She nodded to the drone. On your work. He studied her, suspicion and hope warring in his gaze. Why would you do that? Lena hesitated. She could lie, say it was good PR, a tax write-off. But the truth spilled out instead. Because I think I just laid off 500 versions of you. Silence. Then Marcus exhaled, long and slow. You're Nexateca's CEO. The layoffs today, that was you. No point denying it. Yes. He could have walked out then. Could have cursed her. Instead, he just looked tired. You know, my old company said the same thing when they let me go. Restructuring. Necessary cuts. Never occurs to folks like you that maybe the problem isn't the workers. Maybe it's the people at the top. The word stung because they were true. Lena had spent years believing she was making tough choices for the greater good. But what good came from crushing families like Marcus's? Her phone buzzed again, her driver, waiting outside. She should go. Instead, she pulled out a business card and scribbled a number on the back. My personal line. Call me tomorrow. Let's talk about your drone. Marcus took the card. Skepticism etched in his face. Why? Because today I fired 500 people. She met his eyes. Maybe tomorrow I can hire one. She walked out before he could respond, the weight of the night pressing down on her. But for the first time in a long time, it wasn't the weight of power. It was the weight of a chance to do better. And for once, she wasn't running from it. The unlikely ally. The next morning, Lena sat in her corner office, staring at the city skyline through floor-to-ceiling windows. The press release about the expanded severance packages had gone out, but the damage was far from contained. News outlets were already dissecting Nexateca's layoffs with surgical precision, and the stock was still bleeding. Her assistant knocked lightly on the door. Marcus Wright is here to see you. Lena straightened. Send him in. Marcus stepped inside, looking out of place in his janitor's uniform amid the sleek modern furniture and glass walls. His posture was rigid, his expression unreadable. He carried a worn backpack, likely holding his drone prototype. Lena gestured to the chair across from her. Have a seat. He remained standing. I'm fine here. A silent challenge. She could respect that. I looked into your background, she said, tapping a folder on her desk. MIT grad. 12 patents to your name. Led the engineering team at Aerodyne for a decade before they downsized. She paused. You're overqualified for custodial work. Marcus's jaw tightened. Jobs don't always care about qualifications. True. Lena leaned forward. But I do. She slid a contract across the desk. I want Nexatec to fund your water purification drone. Full R&D support, manufacturing, distribution, the works. You'd lead the project. Marcus didn't move. What's the catch? No catch. He scoffed. There's always a catch. Lena exhaled. Fine. The catch is that I need this. My company's reputation is in free fall. This project, your project, could show we're about more than profit margins. For the first time, Marcus's stance softened slightly. He picked up the contract, scanning it with a trained eye. You're serious. Deadly. He set it down. I need 2 things. Name them. First, I want to guarantee that if this fails, my daughter's medical coverage continues for a year. Lena didn't hesitate. Done. Second, he met her gaze. I want to hire 5 of the people you just laid off. My old team from Aerodyne. They're good engineers. Better than good. A beat passed. Then Lena smiled, a real one. Consider them reinstated. Marcus nodded, finally taking a seat. Then we have a deal. Just then, the door burst open. Herso stormed in, eyes wide. Lena, the board is... He froze, noticing Marcus. Who's this? Lena didn't blink. Marcus, right. Our new head of clean water initiatives. Her COO's face twisted in disbelief. The janitor? Marcus stiffened, but Lena stood, her voice sharp. The MIT-educated engineer with more patents than anyone in this room. She turned to Marcus. Let's introduce you to the team. As they walked out, her COO grabbed her arm. Are you insane? The press will crucify us. Lena pulled free. Or, she said quietly, they'll see a company willing to give second chances. Down in R&D, whispers followed them as Lena introduced Marcus to the stunned staff. Skeptical glances, muffled laughter. Then Marcus unzipped his backpack and assembled his drone on a work table in 3 silent minutes. When he powered it on, the room fell quiet. The device hummed to life, its solar panel unfolding like wings. Test it, he said to the nearest engineer, nodding to a beaker of muddy water. The engineer hesitated, then poured the water into the drone's intake. 30 seconds later, crystal clear water trickled out. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Someone clapped. Then another. Lena watched Marcus's face. The way his shoulders relaxed just slightly, the quiet pride in his eyes. This was where he belonged. Later, as they walked back to her office, Marcus cleared his throat. You didn't have to do that. Yes, Lena said. I did. For the first time, Marcus smiled. Well, guess we're both full of surprises. Outside, the sun broke through the clouds, and for once, Lena felt like maybe, just maybe, she was finally steering the company in the right direction. The ripple effect. 1 year later, Lena stood at the edge of a crowded press conference, watching as Marcus addressed the media. The room buzzed with energy, cameras flashing as journalists leaned forward in their seats. Behind him, a large screen displayed the words, Next a clean water drone, changing lives, one drop at a time. Marcus looked different now, not just in a tailored suit that replaced his janitor's uniform, but in the way he carried himself. Confidence radiated from him as he spoke about the drone's first successful deployment in Flint, Michigan, where it had provided clean water to over 10,000 residents in just 3 weeks. None of this would have been possible without the incredible team at Nexatech, he said, glancing at Lena. And to the people who believed in this idea when it was just sketches in a supply closet, thank you. The room erupted in applause. Lena clapped along, a quiet pride swelling in her chest. After the conference, as the crowd dispersed, Marcus approached her. We got the grant, he said, unable to suppress a grin. The UN wants 5,000 units for refugee camps. Lena laughed. Looks like we're going global. Yeah, we. He hesitated, then extended his hand. Thank you for seeing something in me when no one else did. She shook his hand firmly. Thank you for reminding me what this company should stand for. It wasn't just a drone success that had changed things. In the past year, Nexatech had launched a retraining program for laid-off workers, partnered with veterans organizations for hiring initiatives, and, for the first time in its history, ranked on Forbes' Best Places to Work list. The stock had not only recovered, but soared. As they walked out of the building, Lena spotted Marcus's daughter, Emily, waiting near the curb. The girl, now healthier, her cheeks fuller, ran to hug her father. Daddy, did you tell her? Emily asked excitedly. Marcus chuckled. Not yet. He turned to Lena. We're moving. Got a house near the lake. Emily's got her own room now, and, well, it's got a yard. Lena smiled. Sounds perfect. Emily tugged at Marcus's sleeve. Can we get ice cream to celebrate? Absolutely. He looked back at Lena. You coming? For a moment, Lena hesitated. Old habits whisper about emails to answer, meetings to attend. But then she thought of the woman she'd been a year ago, the one who would have said no, and shook her head with a quiet laugh. Lead the way. As the three of them walked down the street, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows, Lena realized something. The most important decisions weren't made in boardrooms. They were made in supply closets, in moments of humility, in the choice to see people, really see them for who they were. And that was a lesson worth more than any profit margin. If this story inspired you, hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life moments that change everything. Have you ever had an encounter that shifted your perspective? Share it in the comments below. We'd love to hear your story.